Is the 3rd and 4th place match between Fruit Slushies and F5. It looks like, after this first game, Fruit Slushies possibly with, maybe an upset win there. It was looking like it was F5's game to come through here and win, and it looks like right off the bat, Fruit Slushies doing a heavy invade onto the blue buff of F5. F5, as we've known before, they're really good at timing buffs and timing dragons and objectives from the red side, so we might see that from this side, and I think that might lead to a better organized game. I know for them, at least just watching their team, if they get to pick a side, I would definitely be picking the red side.
And Ezreal kind of falling asleep here. I don't think Udyr's going to take a bear stun here, but they will somehow force Ezreal to flash.
Are you behind or ahead of me?
So Highwinds, spectator client, slightly behind, about 30 seconds. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how Ezreal, I don't know if he was falling asleep here, but it looks like...
we were talking about fatigue. Some people, didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Maybe he was falling asleep. Maybe he needs to go grab himself a Balls energy drink or some of these Beaver Buzz energy drinks that are hanging around in Land Cooper 2012 so he can stay awake. And unfortunately for Nocturne, Blue is going to reset on him. So all that pull action that he just got from his friends, not going to pay off. A new character champion that we actually haven't seen a lot so far today actually is Galio. I don't think we've seen him at all.
Oh yeah, I think it's the first time we have seen Galio.
Yeah. A newcomer. Nocturne back on the scene, saw a little bit of him earlier. Ezreal, of course, practically in every game. Paired with Janna's very frequently. It looks like, when they were picking their characters, they were definitely thinking about possibly running a Leona with it, but they actually switched out of it, went to Janna. As far as the bans go, a lot of the AoE bullies that we expect, the Malphites, the Nautiluses, the Alistars, Amumu definitely banned out of here.
Just want to hold that thought because we're going to see aggression in here. Udyr does have level 3. He took blue, stole the enemy red. Ooh, doesn't want to eat too many turret hits.
Yeah, it looks like
your boy Rumble getting pressured here by the Shen Udyr combination.
Well, he's not my boy, and he should be pressured because if he's left, just go toe-to-toe with Shen, he can actually do a lot of really good harassment against him. So he should, get some pressure up there, up top. In middle, I was looking here, it looks like Gal actually rotating down here, possibly checking some rotations maybe from some junglers, making it a little bit safe for Nocturne to sneak around here possibly and head up towards these Wraiths here. He actually does have a ward. He's going to head around the back of red as we see this. He actually has Smite. Udyr has Smite as well. The Smite War, who will it go down? Actually, will he shock him before he decides to do it? Looks like he's just going to go in right now. Looks like we're turning away from this, but he should be tracked down. Great flash over by Udyr. Able to escape out of that, and now we have the Rumble trade up top, and like I was saying earlier, if he's left to his own devices, he has a really great shot of harassing down Shen. Shen trying to trade here, but he will give up first blood to Rumble in top lane, even after that harassment from Udyr.
Yeah, well played here by Rumble. I was kind of watching that while also glancing at the invade. Nocturne, sometimes it's like, do I go for the Smite steal, or do I just wait for them to take it? I think maybe they were both attempting to go for Smite and just the better Smite won, but either way, he did force Udyr to flash, which means we probably won't see much of a Udyr gank in lane probably for another few minutes.
If I was going to give him any advice there, I definitely would have started the attack earlier before the Smite had to happen, because Udyr, when he's waiting to Smite, he's not actually expecting any extra burst from any outside source, which Nocturne would provide, which would give him that little bit of advantage at actually trying to Smite steal. Plus, it makes Udyr pause a little bit because something just attacked him, is getting all up in his grill. It looks like Gali actually going to face check, and Udyr right now going to get some stuns, going to be able to flash over this wall, and will be able to get away. Nice little wall attempt there by Anivia, but a little bit too short.
Not sure what Gali was doing there, just kind of, hey, there's a bush. I think I'm gonna check it.
Yeah, we kind of did it earlier, but earlier I kind of understood because he was going out maybe to support Nocturne to move through the area. That time, I don't know quite what he was doing. Maybe Anivia had zoned him out and he decided he was gonna run that way and he thought it was safe. But unfortunately, Udyr was there and he took a lot of damage for it. First buy back. Rumble's almost finished his revolver. He's actually just going to go into lane. Farm up just a tad bit more.
With that double amp tune, he's got a ward now and a couple pots here. Yeah, he'll be great in lane. Won't have to worry too much about Shen. I personally think Shen has an early lane advantage. I just don't know if you would expect Shen to go really hard in this matchup. I know once Rumble completes that revolver, Shen might want to be careful, because then the sustain leans in favor of Rumble. And we know all about Rumble's burst. And here's Udyr again, just walking up in lane. Doesn't have flash, but does have that red buff.
Taking a bit of damage for showing his face here. But you know what they are doing is they are actually effectively zoning this bot lane, which actually is giving their bot lane an advantage here. So Udyr is doing something down here. Janna actually getting a little bit of harass from Udyr before Udyr's going to back off. Udyr out of mana. So probably just going to back off pretty soon.
Saw a tiger stance. Okay, so Udyr, level 4, has 1 point in each stance. That's typical.
It's pretty exciting.
It could be that he started level 1 Phoenix just for farming purposes, which does make sense, and then he might be rotating into a tiger stance Udyr. I could definitely foresee that happening. I think Tiger is great for ganking.
And there is that heavy damage coming from Rundle up top. He has the Ignite Exhaust going down. It's the only thing that's actually going to save Shen there. But then comes the ult, and he is able to pick up the kill. Rumble just wrecking the top lane right now like a boss. And if I would, I think, Shen tried to have the correct response. He tried to go like a little bit of magic resistance up top. And he has boots to try to disengage. I think he's just, not expecting the damage output of Rumble at this point.
And not just any Rumble. We got Rumble in the jungle, baby.
So Akeech, if we look at his CS right now, he's at 52 CS, Graves at 58. So Graves maybe getting a little bit of edge of Udyr, showing up and zone out a little bit for him. I see Jan actually very active in the brush right now for her team. Looks like Graves actually went over and farmed up some golems in the meantime while the lane was stalemating out there. Bird's going to be able to pick up the blue buff, which is going to let him be able to match this Galio's pushing power. But also, now that Bird is 6, he can really press these waves very, very easily, clear them, just back out, and just keep this process up. And he might actually be able to outdo Galio a little bit here in the pushing power. As far as Galio is concerned, it looks like he's just leveling up Resolute Smite. As his main has won in all his other abilities so far.
Yeah, Galio has no problem clearing waves, especially with blue buff. He can always use his shield to get that bonus magic resist, which is also bonus AP. Yep. One thing to note for Galio players is that if you're going to build for damage, then you build for damage. Don't just go Chalice and Banshee's Veil. You actually want to build damage. Make sure you're going to get a Rabadon's at some point, and I think that's what they're going to want Galio to do. It's not going to be just a tanky initiator. They're going to want Galio to be a damage dealer, especially in this lineup. The Rumble I really like so far is showing us, that he can go toe-to-toe with Shen, no problem. He's behind a little bit in CS, but those 2 kills far make up for what that was, for those lack of CS. One thing to note, though, for Galio is that Udyr is somewhat of a hard counter. As long as you're in bear stance when you believe a Galio's about to go down, that Galio gets insta-popped.
Yeah, Idol Duran unfortunately does not beat the bear stance.
Also, Shinton and Soraka, there are so many ways to pop that Galio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Plus you got a Nivea, I believe it's Flash Frost?
Yeah, and so what I'm expecting right here, right now, from the red team at least, is they're just going to hope that just basically the shock value of hopping in with Idle Duran is going to be enough for the rest of their team to line up those awesome AoE ults. And Graves actually having to flash here to survive.
I think he whipped his ult
right away.
Yeah, I think he fired his ult and kind of whiffed it. I don't know if it would have mattered because I don't think it would have been enough damage to really scare Ezreal and Janna, but might have been just a positional thing. The quick draw didn't quite expect it, and
ooh, we have a heavy gank planned up here for Rumble, possibly. I don't think they know that Nocturne is here, and they're a little bit close to the turret, and the stun will land. There's going to be some good burst damage onto Rumble. Rumble's just trying to turn around, throw out those Electro Harpoons, and I don't think they're going to be able to actually dive this. They're kind of playing around, spending a lot of time up here. Bird's in a lot of trouble, but Nocturne coming in, and here comes the Galileo, and that's going to be a brilliant idle Duran. They're not even going to have a chance to stop it. It's going to come right back up, and now it could be a 3-for-0 in the process. At least it's going to be 2 kills up top.
So red team coming out firing on all cylinders, especially in that top lane. Seems like everything is going on in that top lane. Bot lane, there's quite a little bit of action, but you've got Soraka for sustain. You got Janna for damage prevention. Bot lane is left to its own device, but a lot of action going on here in top lane. And we've seen a lot of the top teams play, put that early game aggression in top and or mid. I'm personally a big fan of, if I'm a jungler, I'm going to be camping top, or setting up some counter ganks near mid where I'm like, hey, mid lane, go hard, go hard, go hard. Force their jungler to come at you and just be ready.
And I'm looking at this team right now. It's like I just have to go back. It's like Festive 5. Like they're almost like a completely different team when they're red side versus when they're blue side.
Yeah, who
it's
are these ringers?
Like I don't know. Like if they switch teams every time. Like they just have a second set of players that step in when they do this. I mean the names look familiar, but I mean man, like their coordination and they make plays when they're red team, and when they're blue team, they just kind of sit back and play that farming game, which led to the long game we saw before, and they actually were able to give it up. Especially with the picks that were allotted against them. I think Malphite was a big pirate in their put in game 1, but now they have it banned out. It looks like they're playing very, very well in their lanes and actually making plays. I'm expecting them to make some moves on some more objectives coming up here soon. Looks like wards have been put down for Dragon for the blue team. They are a little bit worried about that. Nocturne waiting in the wings, possibly looking for a way to move in.
So I'm trying to take a look at Shen's stats and try and find out what... I mean, we know Rumble is amazing. We talked in great length about how much damage he can do and why it's unexpected. But for some reason, I feel like Shen has just taken a crazy amount of additional damage. I'm looking at his masteries, or at least trying to get a good idea. I'm looking at his character sheet, and it looks like he is, he is running magic resist per level. He's also got that early null mantle. It could be that there could be, if we look at Rumble, there is, he's got the 12% spell vamp, and possibly just a bunch
He just
of
scales
magic
really
band.
hard off a little bit of AP. He gets it from the revolver, the early revolver. He definitely has some runes that probably gave him some AP to start the game. And really against melee characters, as long as he can run you down with his shield, he wins trades. Especially if you can straddle that 50% heat and get that bonus damage. It's just a lot of damage and hard to deal with. And especially, when he's throwing down ignites as well. And, the second kill was really off of his ult as well, too, to finish off Shen. Otherwise, Shen would have been able to escape out of that.
So, Go Trope 5 million, sitting here, content in mid lane to farm. He's got blue buff, he's got Chalice, he's got Catalyst. I really hope he turns that Catalyst into a Rod of Ages. I know it's insanely enticing to go just magic resist because hey, look at my passive, it gives me a ability power, but you really want to be able to do damage. But you know what, right now he doing pretty good here.
It's kind of funny to watch their builds because it's like Envy and him actually have pretty much the same builds at this point. Boots, Chalice, Catalyst, and all. I mean, they even have wards and pots together. And, just basically mirror imaging each other. Two heroes content right now to not just go straight up AP. Give us tankiness, give us mana, and we'll be great as we go farther in this game. And there is a great rotate down. Looks like Graves actually going to deke up to try to escape out of this. Throws in his ult. Shen has made an appearance. He's going to try to track down this Ezreal, but Ezreal's staying at a great distance here, able to back off and be safe, and everybody's safe. And now Udyr is coming in here. Will he be able to get a stun off? But no, he will not. Janna throwing in that Zephyr to get that slow off, and no one's going to die.
And I kind of like this. Nocturne could have made his way down there, and there might have been some plays that could have been made. But instead, he stayed mid lane, realized, hey, my mid is out there trying to make plays. I'm going to go ahead and shove this this creep wave. Unfortunately, he didn't get the creep wave close enough to the turret, so Anivia was like, woohoo!
Yay, farm still! One thing that is a little bit worrisome, though, is that Rumble has been able to shove this top lane in, and he's over 20 CS ahead, I believe, at this point. looking pretty strong. As I look at the rest of CS, Ezreal 120 CS, Galio 120 CS. So all of those, all those players actually are 20 CS about ahead in their own respective right. Graves just a little bit lest behind. But overall, just the farming from Festive 5 right here is just completely, just giving them a decent gold advantage. And I'd be interested to see, if they go back, if they buy now, will they start to put pressure on the Dragon and some other objectives. Looks like everybody pretty much got the rally cry to head back and buy up. Galio, the lone man out on the map right now, battling Anivia in mid.
Yeah, with they know that Shin ult's down. Shin's ult has a really long cooldown at the early levels. I would say, knowing that it's down, I would have Rumble, probably just run straight to Dragon and see if they can make something happen. Nocturne still has his ult. They could do some shenanigans where they pop Paranoia to prevent any sort of smite steal or any sort of knowledge that they're doing. Oh wait, I'm confused. When did Dragon go down?
I apparently missed it. I didn't see Dragon go down either. It looks like, could have gone down possibly when Red backed.
Kills,
like,
including Red.
Interesting. I guess I'm blind.
I'm gonna go ahead and figure out when it went down because I have the power to go back, and so I will catch up to you with live here in a minute. So. Alright, so Blue is pinging Dragon at the 11-minute mark.
It's like just standard pressure on bottom, just trading down CS back and forth. Like Nocturne possibly rotated up to take a look at top. Rumble just peeking in at the blue buff. Check, see what's going on there. Ward's going off top and in the mid river. And the jungler's actually squaring off in mid lane right now. Nocturne trying to trade, actually getting the better of this. But Shen actually using his ult to come into middle. That's a little bit surprising to me. And actually taunting Nocturne underneath turret. A little bold. I don't know if that rotation is necessarily the best thing or the thing they wanted to do right there.
So with my deductive powers of going back in time.
With your time machine?
Yeah, my time machine. I actually still have not figured out when Dragon died. So, yay me.
It's a mystery. And Soraka's in a lot of trouble here. That Fierce is going to be able to effectively silence her, not let her escape. And she will be picked off in this bottom lane. Nivea left back is probably going to go up, buy up. And then we should see her head over towards blue and pick up the blue buff as well after she buys up. Rumble just constantly pressuring this top lane. Trying to put Shen behind, but Shen's not really falling behind in the CS so far. And there's the ult, trying to come in for another kill. There's the ignite, and Rumble picking up another kill on Shen in the top lane. He snowballs, Rumble snowballs so hard at this point. Can't give him any leeway here, and they're really just gonna have to, maybe, try to make a play there. But Rumble's really, really tanky. Even if you try to gank him, you really have to have him out of position and get a good rotate off while no one is saying. And have we figured it out, Highland?
Yes, we did it right about the 13-minute mark. So there it is on the respawn at 19 minutes. And basically before Galio went down in the bot lane and popped that auto ran, Nocturne and was able to take Dragon.
Okay.
And then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna rotate back to my top jungle," and then that's when Galio came down. But as we can see, red team with the timer, just on it.
As we expect from them.
Yeah, this is exactly what we expected from them, especially on the blue side. I'm telling you, you hit it right there on the head when you said this is a whole different team. Right now, they're 6-0. They've got 2 dragons. They're at 5K gold right here in the just under the 20-minute mark. I like the way this team is playing.
And there's nothing that says to me that blue, they haven't really made like any good runs at stopping any of these dragons so far. So far, even we were oblivious to the first one, and the second one, they have a ward down there now. But otherwise, I expect red to actually pick up a lot more of these dragons going further on in this game.
So I'm checking out that interesting double ward action at Baron. Looks like one of them will fade soon. But it's good to see, how much these guys are investing in ward coverage. Vision is always important, especially when you're ahead, because that allows you to make the enemy team, you know, uneasy.
Yeah.
If you have an advantage, that means it allows you to get out of the lane more, allows you to make plays and be a little more risky. And so by having that vision, it really kind of synergizes that.
Nocturne working on his red buff right now. He's actually going to be able to pick up that. Looks like Rumble's zoning out. Shen, to his dismay, a little bit up top. Taking some runs out. He's going to overhit.
Level advantage.
Yep. Overheating there. He's going to have to build his heat back up using that scrap shield. And just keep going in as he can.
A party here in top lane. Both Anivia and Udyr showing up.
Could be a really scary counter initiative, but no, he showed himself. They just want to back this off, and it looks like Rumble just doesn't want to get his top lane pressed. And Shen actually ulting in. That was actually a really good wall right there, possibly keeping Nocturne and putting Nocturne in a lot of trouble. But unfortunately for Anivia, Nocturne was able to flash out.
Graves dodging an ult here from Ezreal.
You know, I've seen a lot of Ezreal ults dodge today. There's been very few that have hit. It's like they either use the flash to get out of it, or they just walk out of the way because he has to have that million-hour wind-up. And here we go. The dive is on. They should be able to pick up Rumble here. Although Anivia will go down, he is being targeted by the turret. Will they be able to do it? But Idol Duran comes in and gets canceled instantly. But now Nocturne might be able to add a little bit of damage in here. He wants to be really, really careful. Probably going to make sure that spell shield is up. There's the block right there. And they might turn around, and Shen should be able to dash over this wall. And he is out of that fight. Meanwhile, bottom being pressured a bunch. Ezreal actually stealing the golems from blue and hanging out past this dead turret now. He keeps pushing this bot lane because he knows where everybody else is on the map, and he knows that Shen ult is down.
So Ezreal has been farming up pretty well. He's got that Infinity Edge. Did not go for a Triforce that we've seen a lot of Ezreals going. I really like this. I think Infinity Edge is the item of choice if you want to do damage. I'm seeing these crits pop up. Graves is not expecting the amount of damage that's coming up from this Ezreal. They've been able to pressure them and eventually took that bot lane turret.
And as we look here, it should be, we should expect a couple more minutes, or at least a minute or so more. We should see another dragon come out for red, or they should be starting to gear up for it. They have a ton of wards all the way around dragon. They have the entire bottom warded out right now. I expect a few more wards geared maybe towards Baron, although I don't know if they're completely concerned with it at this point. Looking at highest CS in the game, Galio has been able to outfarm everybody so far, 214 CS. And as we look at total gold, all the carries for F5 right now at 7K. And if we look at the carries of the enemy team, the highest one right now is 6.3K. But Rumble under a little pressure now. He's going to flash out right away, back off, save a lot of his health, make sure he's still viable for some later team fights possibly. Might be decide to rotate down eventually for a dragon. He's actually defended that top turret really vigorously. And here we go. Now rotating down, getting ready for dragon. This is what we expect from F5. Ezreal probably just going to clear out this bot lane and start to rotate up for that dragon when it does respawn.
Shen ult is available, so if they wanted to compete, contest this dragon 5v5, they definitely could. It's actually, I think it's not up for another minute. I think it's right about the 25-minute mark or so. But this is going to give Shen an opportunity to push here. He'll be able to potentially take this top lane turret and let these guys pressure in mid. I don't think they have to worry too much about a Galio here just yet. They do want to be wary because I think Red actually could take this mid turret if they do it quick enough before Anivia's actually able to pick up that blue and rotate. Ooh.
Like Shen heading down there, and they actually will move in. Eildran's going to work onto Graves. He will get the Shen ult. Fear's going to actually proc on him, though. That wall was clutch. Nocturne not able to land any more auto attacks on there. The turret will fall, actually helping Red Team survive. Janal in a pinch right there, and Nocturne ult just to make sure there is no chase. Getting rid of that vision with his paranoia. Great work right there by Nocturne.
I really like the Galio ult. It was well positioned. It prevented from the turret from even doing any damage. He did pick Graves, but Graves able to get out of. No one actually dying from that fight.
Yeah, we actually had a lot of really good disengages by both teams in a lot of situations where no one ends up dying. I think, Anivia's wall was actually very, very clutch in keeping Nocturne
Shintoff,
away.
perfect
And
to hit
great
Ezreal.
taunt. Ezreal actually might be able to survive out of this. And a great rumble out down there to cover their retreat. Shen really, really wants this. He will be able to get the kill, although he is going to fall. Great move by him at picking off a carry. You know, once he had that great taunt, he just definitely wanted to commit to it. And Dragon winning out against Udyr.
Yeah, I'm looking at Udyr's build. He is 1-0. He does have that Wriggles, but unfortunately just didn't have the team to back him up. They could have possibly used Anivia the zone, but Anivia low on mana because Udyr happened to take that blue buff instead of giving it to his friendly neighborhood Frozen Bird.
And it is really, really key, you know, whenever you have an Anivia on team, you want to get her as much mana regen as possible so she can defend you against pushes and try to zone out like you said earlier. Looks like top lane getting pinged a bit. Top turret is down. There's a big wave coming. Janna warding out a Baron. We see the Reds start to shift a lot of their wards towards that Baron side. Already have wards all over the exits for the Dragon jungle side for the blue side.
Soraka just doing a little babysitting here, kind of keeping Anivia fed with mana. Anivia's going to want to kind of push this lane. If possible, they would love to take this mid turret. Anytime you lose your mid turret as a team, it kind of puts you at a disadvantage for just map coverage because it opens up way more of the map for the enemy team. Unlike, you know, maybe your outer turret and top or bot, that mid turret is really important to the kind of the lanes and paths that you take to move around the map.
Yeah, it opens up a lot of pathways through the jungle, especially, you know, depending on what your ward coverage is. If we look at Soraka, she looks like she's probably going for Shirelia's Reverie. Almost there, might be able to go back and buy one right now. And but not going Aegis Legion because Shen has actually been able to pick up Aegis Legion. But Jan, on the other hand, actually has gone Aegis Legion for her team since she is right now looking like the best candidate to pick one up.
So we're seeing some pings here for Baron. Nocturne does have an Oracle. This is great. He should be able to start sweeping and clearing out these wards. That'll give them, you know, positional. You know, because right now the blue team doesn't have an Oracle to my knowledge. I don't believe Udyr has one. Which means they can really force blue team to react to potentially what they might be doing, whether it's Baron because they don't have any vision of it, or or if they want to just get it, group up and roam.
It's like Red with heavy pressure on this bottom turret. They do not have Rumble here, so if they do get in a team fight, they will be at a disadvantage. They definitely want Rumble's DPS. Rumble's just split pushing top, and the entire blue team has been baited down here. I don't know if Rumble's actually going to be able to put any real damage on this turret, but they're just going to keep the blue team just running around. And it looks like Red actually pushing back onto this bottom turret. Say, hey, look, we're back. Surprise, we're pushing again. And it looks like Graves is going to be the man in charge of coming up here. And if Rumble actually does decide to gauge on him, he's going to have to do a lot of damage really quickly before Shen is actually able to respond and use the Stand United to come up there and turn that fight around. And just Anivia is all they need actually to defend this bottom push. They actually don't need...
Yeah, this is a lot of resources they're committing to defending this push. You know, I think Anivia Soraka would be perfectly fine defending this wave. You could even send Udyr up top to potentially gank Rumble, but you know, Rumble is just so, you know, ahead in levels and experience, and he does have a decent ability to disengage.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing, you know, what Rumble decides to do next. You know, his damage output is absolutely huge at this point. He's almost level 18. Right now, he's one of the farthest characters ahead of the curve. The other one being Galio, who's also level 17 at this point because he farmed like a boss in the mid lane. And Red actually just spreading out. You know, the F5 just spreading out, getting objectives, warding up the enemy's blue here. They might decide to make a play on that. Looks like Janna has started to pull the blue buff away. Shen coming over and being, no, that's not how it's going to go. And blue should be able to secure their blue buff very shortly.
Yeah, Rumble's ult right now doing 448 magic damage and leaving a burning trail for 5 seconds, dealing 239 magic damage per second. Also slowing opponents by 35%. That's obscene. in terms of amount of damage that can come out at such a long range.
Absolutely sick, and a teleport coming in from the red team. That is Galio. They are going to be able to try to tear down Baron. Baron not even at half health, though. I think they're actually going to be pushed off this. I don't think they can safely do this, but they could have a great engage, and there's the flash after. They actually are able to pick off a Nivea. The Rumble ult coming in. A lot of blue team actually still standing in it, but luckily for them, Shen is very, very tanky. Flash out by Nocturne, trying to survive. Nocturne is going to be picked off, and the rest of the blue team trying to hunt in here on Rumble. Rumble still alive, actually has a lot of spell vamp if he wants to turn in on this fight, but Shen, great taunt right there, just kiting around as much as he can. Ezreal's actually finally able to pick him off, but Graves still alive, able to carry for his team as an AD carry. It looks like Ezreal might have DC'd there. No, he's still alive, and actually he's picked up a triple kill now. He was standing toe-to-toe right there for quite a while.
I can't believe that fight. I really thought for sure. I was like, oh, wow, I think this is it. Blue is actually going to have an advantage because Ezreal really wasn't doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
He had to focus a lot of his resources on Shen, and finally picking up Shen. I thought Graves was just going to clean this up.
Yeah.
And by then, all of a sudden, I'm looking at him like, Ezreal triple kill, what?
Red team's turret has been
Yeah, it was a very good, sustained a very good sustained fight there. Typically it was a very long fight of people just wailing on each other. I think Shen got a lot of dashes off in that fight, and overall played pretty well by both teams. No one got completely wiped in that team fight. Let me just see what they come back with here. It looks like Rumble will be going for Rylai's next to get that extra slow factor, keep people in place.
And if Graves and the Fruit Slushies team had turned that around, I'd have been thinking like, whoa, what is this rope-a-dope action we got going on? Like, hey, we're gonna give up a few kills this team, but now we're gonna turn it around. But Pulsefire Ezreal doing, but Pulsefire Ezreal does best, and guys.
Yeah, I actually think it would have went the way it was if Graves had the items he has now. He actually went back, finished up his Phantom Dancer, and he actually picked up a green elixir. So this next team fight is actually gonna have a lot of extra crit and attack speed. And if the same thing happens again, I expect that Graves actually will be able to make a big enough factor that he will be able to kill. I mean, Ezra probably would have died somewhere in that collateral damage if Graves had any extra AD when he was trying to burst down his enemy opponents.
So I'm checking around here. I don't believe blue team has an Oracle. Let's just double check. And red team is really hauling in here.
I think they feel really confident here. Janna actually caught out, but flashes back over the wall. Really quick reaction right there. Could have been terrible thing for the red team, being down a member. And Janna's always key if she wants to actually try to peel and keep Ezreal alive.
Honestly, if I know my Shen ult is up, I'm going to send my Shen bot. Because I want to get as much attention away from Baron as possible. I think it would be, that's the best way to take advantage of Shen. He's behind in the sense that, he's...
Uh-oh, Shen leading the charge. Hal and Gale come in, and actually Rumble face-checking that a little bit, but in comes Nocturne, as that ult was amazing. And you can watch blue team just die horribly right now. And Graves, he's still alive, but there's no way he can actually engage on this and survive at all.
Yeah, that was a real big mistake for the blue team to clump up in such a concave area.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you have an Nivea, you have an AoE component, but Nivea's AoE damage right now isn't massive.
Yeah.
It does a decent amount of damage, but really a lot of her strength in a team fight right now is the ability to pick and choose where the fight happens, split the enemy team up, use her stuns and her walls. Like, she's more of a utility right now, and she also provides a bit of burst. Not as much sustained AoE as you would expect, and really they kind of walked right into that trap. They saw Rumble, maybe thought, oh my goodness, if we can pick Rumble off, we have a shot because Rumble's the one that's doing all the damage. But they walked right into that concave area, the worst place you could possibly be. That Rumble did immense amount of damage, and that turned around and a 4 for none, and they're gonna pick up Baron and a Dragon. I mean, that gold lead, which was about 5-6K, just shot up to a lot. Like a 10 or 12K.
Yeah, really, right there. It was what you said. It was like the shock value of, oh my God, we taunted him. Like, this is our chance. But at the same time, it's like if you don't realize you don't have enough damage to tear him down, which I think Graves quite wasn't there to like throw in his his card right there, and you have Galio disruption potential too. It's just like just complete mistake. And you see it from a lot of teams, and a lot of games where like the average games, you see competitively where it just sometimes if you're with a group of people and you just get that excitement, like yes, go in and get them, and then the AOE team stomps you and smiles and walks away.
It's kind of like back in the day when remember people used to play a lot of jungle fiddle, and fiddle you could fall behind, but all you need was one good ult. And
Yeah.
you could, one all good ult in a team fight, and that's kind of what a Mumu can be right in today's meta, where if you fall behind, you can still have that one good ult. And interesting ult here going in on Shen.
Oh, they're gonna get the slow off there. I don't know if it's gonna be enough damage. Republic's gonna be able to catch up. Janna's actually gonna try to slow this up. The Ezreal all just barely misses, but infinite slows coming in here, and yeah, he's not gonna be able to escape. They actually are gonna be able to pick up Shen. But kind of a weird target to pick there, but they're able to do it and get out, and they have it sustained from Baron, and that's just going to make it easier for them to push.
Janna, a little overzealous with that ult. Probably not necessary, but hey, you know what? Sometimes I just like to get in there and press R2. I want to feel part of the team,
The good news for Janna, though, at least, and she pops her ult, it's actually on a really low cooldown, so she'll get it up probably before they have to start to make any real decisions to push in on the base turret or something like that as we go on.
I'm looking at the cooldown. It's almost 30% off the cooldown. So. So right now they've got this four-man push into Anivia with blue buff. Not usually usually kind of what you want to see if you're the enemy team and if your enemy team is ahead and then just pushing with you with 4 and you have Anivia with blue buff, you're like, sweet, you guys stand there and do that, and I'm gonna clear these creep waves.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Galio was split pushing in bot lane and really shoving creeps. I think he picked up one of the bottom turrets
some really good poke actually coming in on this mid turret. Nivea's actually not been able to do her job to clear those waves quite as much as they would like, and just heavy clearing actually coming in. The Ezreal just as much to clear creeps as it was to put some damage on the enemy team. Their sustain is really good, but I feel like they need to go back, back to making sure they have someone that can keep the lanes pushing. So I feel like that was their really good, like the one thing that was paying off for them. But luckily, Anivia was able to have the perfect time to go back, get some mana, buy up, and then come back and be able to stop this lane from pushing.
Flash Frost does hit Ezreal.
Nocturne all in on this. Shen doing a good taunt right there, and they're trying to focus down. Idled around has been popped. Rumble ult coming in. The equalizer, but it makes nothing equal. Turns everything into his favor right now, and they should be able to take down this turret with this red buff. And F5 looking like they are going to take this game and take this to the first best-of-3 series I think we've had in the entire tournament.
Yeah. So, the Nexus hasn't quite imploded yet, but if Ezreal just wants to focus down these turrets, they're going to take down the Nexus really quickly. So GG, well played. Going to a best-of-3 here, and we're going to bring that to you shortly.
Yeah.
Victory!